California Governor Gavin Newsom describes the current political moment as a code red. In his view, the system's instability is so severe that a standard 2028 election isn't a guarantee. While voters generally expect to choose a leader from a blank slate, the reality is that candidates are often vetted and selected years before their names appear on a ballot. The race for 2028 is currently being managed by a small group of high-level interests, working to establish a hierarchy and narrow the field before the public ever sees a debate stage. Identifying the next president requires looking at three distinct power centers acting as kingmakers. First is the money, next is the megaphones, and finally, the shadow. To see where the country is actually headed, we have to look past the politicians and examine the gatekeepers holding the keys to the nomination. In the first pillar of power, financial alliances are already forming around Governor Newsom. A network of entertainment executives and Hollywood donors has begun coordinating early support for a potential 2028 run. This chart shows the scale of California's annual entertainment tax incentives, which Newsom expanded to $750 million. For many in Hollywood, supporting the governor is a matter of protecting this specific fiscal ecosystem. Newsom has secured this donor base by leaning into a combative public persona. By openly challenging federal actions and labeling political rivals as authoritarians, he gives donors a fighter to rally behind. Securing these massive contributions early creates a strategic vacuum for other Democrats. When a single candidate locks up the industry's major donors, potential primary rivals are left without the seed money needed to build a campaign. In the invisible primary, early capital builds a defensive wall around a chosen candidate, making it nearly impossible for outsiders to challenge the established frontrunner. This highlights a major vulnerability in American democracy. The United States ranks 31st in eligible voter participation, with only 62% of citizens casting a ballot. A lack of information regarding basic voting mechanics has left millions of young voters disconnected from the political process. Political organizers are solving this engagement problem by deploying the megaphones. Celebrities and digital creators now provide the direct, unfiltered pipeline to a demographic that has largely abandoned traditional news. This digital form shows how creator David Dobrik leveraged a luxury car giveaway to drive voter registration. By asking followers to check their status in exchange for raffle entries, influencers can generate hundreds of thousands of new registrations in a single day. Cultural figures are also increasingly willing to act as political attack dogs. Nicki Minaj recently used a surprise appearance at a major conference to openly mock and dismiss political opponents on stage. By bypassing traditional media, these celebrities have become independent power brokers who can create or destroy a candidate's public momentum with a single social media post. Within the Republican Party, power functions differently. This third pillar, shadow power, relies on a psychological hold that currently dictates every movement within the GOP. This creates a crown game dynamic where internal rivals are paralyzed. No challenger can effectively fundraise or announce a platform without risking immediate retaliation from the party's leader. The strength of this grip was visible at the White House Correspondences' Dinner. Donald Trump donned a Trump 2028 hat, forcing the press and his own party to acknowledge a term that is currently prohibited by the Constitution. The stunt functions as a psychological freeze on the field. It signals to any potential 2028 challenger that the space is already occupied and that their own ambitions must remain on hold. One side of the aisle builds power through a decentralized web of money and celebrity influence, while the other maintains control through a singular, impenetrable bottleneck. This invisible pre-game warfare raises a difficult question about the actual influence of the average voter in the modern democratic process. As public trust in institutions declines, the real mechanics of power have shifted toward high-net-worth donors and individuals with the largest social media reach. This reliance on private capital and celebrity endorsements creates a shadow primary. When the major players in wealth and media align behind a candidate years early, it places a heavy thumb on the scale of the eventual public vote. If the primary field is frozen and the donor capital is already locked away, the outcome of the race can be largely determined before a single citizen enters one of these booths. In 2028, the names on the ballot may simply be avatars. The real results will be decided by the invisible kingmakers who built them.